All right. Sounds good. Good to have you guys here. So, hello everybody. Especially if you're gonna watch this from the YouTube channel, as well as everybody here on Twitch. This is our first ever Summoners War podcast. Yeah, an idea that we kind of had last week to invite different content creators in to kind of discuss various topics. This week's podcast is going to be talking about a lot of things pertaining to RTA with the new patch that was released a couple weeks ago, and with the new RTA season coming in. So here today I have TopaV, Makeitabud,
Hello.
Faintmemory, and Fwa. Yeah, all Twitch streamers, by the way. We're going to put their links to their Twitch streams below in the video once this gets uploaded to YouTube. And for the people here in chat, we can give the links a little bit later as well for you guys to check them out as well. So we have 5 topics that we're going to be discussing today. How this is going to work is we'll probably, I'll ask the question and I'll go ahead and call each of you guys out, and you guys can give a little bit of your opinions. And then after that, we can kind of have like a brainstorm sesh where, where you guys can just like discuss and, not argue, but give your opinions to each other. Because, different play styles, different opinions on things, right? A lot of theory crafting. So it's going to be a lot of fun. So question number 1 that I have here for today is, what is your opinion on, this is one of the biggest questions, what is your opinion on the Molong nerf? And how do you feel about his viability in the game now? I guess we'll go ahead and start off, with Faintmemory here, since he's like in the middle of the screen. If you want, you can do a quick introduction of yourself as well. Tell people a little bit more about yourself, maybe your background with Summoners War and everything like that, just in case some people don't know you.
Okay, hi everybody. I'm Faintmemory, the most entertaining G3 RTA player on Twitch.
Lies already from the get-go.
Okay. Anyways, the first question was what? Molong nerf?
Molong nerf. How do you feel about it? General thoughts, and how about its viability in the game now?
Hooray! I celebrated a whole 3 days when that happened. Rip all the other people who used to first pick Molong against me.
Nice analysis.
Good. Good analysis. Yeah, because you don't have Molong, right?
Nope, no Molong.
Neither do I.
Now I don't even want him anymore.
Alright, so that's your general thoughts on Molong?
Nice.
Okay, good. Moving on, we'll move on, I guess from bottom left, TopaV, if you want to introduce yourself and give your general thoughts on Molong.
Yeah, hi guys, I'm TopaV. I also stream here on Twitch. I've been playing the game for 4.5 years now or something, and a Guardian 3 RTA player, if that speaks to anything. But yeah, my opinion on Molong may differ from others, right? Because I have a Yan Hong, so that still obviously pairs really well with the Molong. So I think I still have that combo. But in general, I don't think Molong's really going to be a first pick for most players, even for me, because his usability went down a lot with his second skill being nerfed, not being able to strip anymore. And but he still has the same third skill, right? Being able to nuke. So in some comps, he's still the same. But overall, he's a lot weaker in today's meta.
All right, thank you, Topa. Next, Makeitabud. Go ahead,
All right.
quick intro of yourself. Thoughts on
Hello,
Molong.
everyone. Intro of myself. Been playing the game for about 3 years now. Currently in Malicious. And I stream occasionally some medium level RTA and host some tournaments occasionally, one of which will be this Saturday. Guild RTA tournament featuring some of the best guilds on the server, casted with me and Josh. All right, enough with the intro. Opinion on Molong was that Molong had a huge nerf. I originally thought it was not so big, but after playtesting about 50 to 60 games, I feel like Molong is significantly weaker. So basically, Molong used to have 2 functions, right? You can either be an instant nuke off the bat, or a large amount of strips, and you can tune your team to be able to have 2 options off the bat. You now can't strip, really, right? You really can't strip off the bat. So you're really limited to 1 option off the bat, which is instantly nuke. And that really makes the way the draft go very linear. And so when that happens, a lot of people you really need to shift your good bio sets off into other units. So what that does is that either moves Molong to a lower speed, where with the prevalence of Hathor's and Josh's Water Barb, Molong can't do shit anymore. It doesn't do anything because it gets controlled and never takes a turn.
Mm-hmm.
So your only option is to either pray for bio procs or resist, or to go swift or some kind of really fast vampire to get that pressure early. So you kind of don't have a spot anymore in the current lineups. And so I don't see Molong working very well. It's very easily countered, and at least the high top 20 players probably won't use it much.
Okay. Thank you, Makeitabud. And
No
last
problem.
but not least, we have Fwa. Quick intro on yourself and some thoughts on your opinion
What's
on
up,
Molong.
everybody? I'm Fua. I am the Brett Favre of Summer's War. I have quit the game, I think 24 times, and I came back.
Quit the game 24 times. I think that's too many. I think it was like 21, something like that.
Somewhere around
Don't
there.
worry, it'll be 24 soon enough.
Probably in 2 weeks, I'll probably have a PMS
22.
again. And I've been playing Summer's War for 3 years now. Yeah, on and off, here and there. And let's see, the Molong. Molong, it's so nice that this happened because, yeah, like you have to first pick him almost every time before because he does everything. He does everything besides like heal, but unless he's on vampire. But yeah, now it's more of like he's so good if you pair him up with different units like the water lightning emperor. So lightning emperor moves first and then Molong moves right after, such as that. So he's more like a regular unit now. We have to pair him up with other units to make him perform well. He can't do everything now. So that's huge. What else about Molong? That's pretty much what I got. Like it's a great change. Like, yeah.
Okay,
Love
cool. Yeah, thank you for your input. All right, I guess we can throw it onto the field now. I guess my little bit of opinion on Molong is I think it can still be a strong unit. I think what sucks for a lot of players is that Molong is still offered as a threat. You know, that unit that can do 70% damage and has that lingering threat of sniping something, right? So that's always still going to be the strength of Molong. But taking away that strip viability and that strip consistency from Molong really took away a very big portion of a player's RTA team. So now players have to start bringing in different units or more units to take that role because that role is no longer under Molong anymore. So I think like Makeitabud says, people are going to be taking off their runes off Molong, probably going to make it a lot tankier, I would feel, right? Be able to be a little bit beefier, still provide that defense break, yeah, and be that lingering 70% damage sniping kind of threat. So how do you feel that is? How do you feel Molong's going to be moving on to this next season? I can just throw it right onto the table here. Anybody that wants to respond?
Non-existent at the top levels.
Really?
Because well, you move it off your best vial runes, right? So let's take Swift off the table for now, and let's take Baryon Vampire Fast off the table. So it's going to be a slower unit.
Okay.
Pretty much anything controls it, right? From Hathor, Oki, Iris. You can use a water barb to come in, right? It's Molong is going to be controlled and probably not take many turns, and it's going to require too much of a setup to make it work, which makes it very easy to pick ban against it.
Like especially in the top ranks is even if you snipe somebody right away, Molong's just gonna sit there for 5 turns, right? It's basically still a 3v3 at that point.
I guess that's true. Before, with his ability to kind of sit there and not have third skill, having that second skill to be able to stun or strip something gave him a little more functionality as well as combined with that defense break. But now he's just kind of more of a sitting duck. That's true.
Yeah.
I don't think he's that much of a sitting duck. I think the defense break from the first skill is still a huge threat unless the enemy team has a lot of immunity. But defense break on the first skill is still a huge threat, not just like the third skill of Molong. He just can't buff strip anymore. But yeah,
I feel like
RNG.
if your opponent has a lot of immunity though, you're gonna bring in other units, like I said, that are gonna strip and set up so that Molong can snipe and defense break. So I think it's still a very strong defense breaker. What do you feel of him being a defense breaker? Having that threat and a defense break is still pretty viable.
The thing is, like you have to set up for the kill, right? So you have to think like your draft is 5 units. If Molong takes 1 and setting up takes maybe 1 or 2 more units, like either your draft is gonna be like very readable, or like you're picking like Molong early, and then that leaves all the stronger control units for the other player to take.
I guess that's
It's
true.
not as Molong as like a bad unit. It's just you can't like where you pick them in the draft. There's a problem.
So he's gonna be more of a secondary, tertiary pick, depending on what your opponent has them, I guess. So he's not gonna run well against if they have double immunity. So one more thing I was thinking about is previously before with Molong, Triana is a very good counter to Molong. Topa, you having Molong and all that, what do you feel? Does it make Molong even weaker now? Like, cause you know it's hard to take Molong early now, cause if they take Triana, it just makes him even weaker than he is currently. I think he'll be
Right, for
effective?
sure. Since obviously I use Molong with Yanhong, and that and like Chris said, you can only really have one play turn one, which is the nuke. And having a Triana on the board means that I have only one option with the nuke too. It has to be Triana, right? Because anyone else I nuke, Triana's gonna save that too. So yeah, it's a really tough counter, which, like you said, leaves Molong as a more of a secondary or third pick. Can't pick him every time.
Okay. All right, cool. Last thing to segue off this a little bit is, of course, we're talking about RTA and viability for Molong and RTA, but other players that have Molong as well might not be so RTA focused. Still good in Guild Wars? Still good on Guild Wars defense? Offensive use? Like, is there still functionality for that or what?
I think it's gonna be a lot less success. Like, the buff strip is just huge. Like it's like people don't understand how. Like sometimes people don't notice how huge it is. Like it's a huge deal losing the buff strip.
Yeah, I can remember countless times of going into the match and just starting off by getting stripped and stunned, and then just losing the guild battle. You know what I mean? And just getting triggered, like up the yin yang.
I mean, in Guild Wars, there's only 3 units, right? So you have to bring, or like in defense especially, you have to bring stuff that provides a lot to the table, so to speak, right? You know, Molong basically losing his strip completely just made him that much less usable since, immunity is really strong, right? If you have immunity on your team and that can't be stripped, then your team can basically do nothing, which makes him Molong much less usable in Guild Wars defense too. I do think he's still very safe in offense, because you can kind of just play around that 70% and then get that kill, slow play. But on defense, I don't think he's going to be as viable anymore.
I see.
Yeah, you got to keep in mind too that usually a lot of the top guilds, top players are semi-RTA focused, right? And so they're going to be making their Molongs slower. So you're going to be fighting Molongs on weaker runes now too.
It's going to be tankier though. Maybe a little bit harder to get rid of.
Well,
right?
the tankiness isn't that big of a factor compared to the fact that I'm just going to control the damn thing. So it's now easier to control. It doesn't, when it procs, it doesn't do as much. I don't see it being used in Guild Wars D much unless you want to have a lot of losses and stuff. So
I do want to test a Molong one day on HP, crit damage HP. One day.
So skill 2 will do damage? Skill 2, does it skill 2 will skill off HP? Because I know skill 1s of all pandas are attack, right? Skills on attack.
Yeah, skill 2 scales HP.
Ah.
Yeah.
But well, on Guild Wars now you can have a Harmonia on Will runes, and for sure it's gonna get the skill 3 off with the Molong nukes.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Most likely. I mean, hopefully it doesn't strip and then like violent into it. Okay, interesting. So, moving on to this again, I don't want to go to the next question yet because there is one more thing that I forgot that I want to discuss as well. Not only does Molong take the hit for this, you already know what I'm gonna say. How about the Tianlang users? I feel like they gotta get the short end of the stick there on that nerf.
Can we get an F in the chat?
I actually think Tianlang is not as bad as you guys some may think. Its main function is a soak up attack bar. Well, I don't own a Tianlang, right? And I was never. When I fought Tianlang users, they never drafted it effectively against me. But I imagine if I had one, I would still use the shit out of it, because it's really there to soak attack bar and provide. And the defense break. I know skill 2 is always scary, but defense break is very scary too.
Non-elemental disadvantage defense break, by the way.
Right.
Compared to Molong, right?
But
I think it's still okay. Yeah.
Soaker. It's okay. It's actually not terrible.
That's what I've been telling people. Yeah, because the purpose and the passive of Tianlang is still there. You're gonna pick it when it's the most opportune moment to pick it, and it's still gonna do well because you're gonna pick it in that prime situation, right?
Yeah, I'll take it over a Conrad.
You got a Conrad?
I got a 5-star Conrad the other day.
Oh my god,
I
it's the
know.
rarest thing to summon in the game aside from a fake LD95 from Wish.
Oh, thanks for making me feel better.
Oh, it's rare, dude. You won. You win the lottery. It's like a lifetime supply of.
Can we get another F in the chat?
Any thoughts on Tian Lang?
Tian Lang is
or
still very
Tian-
good into Ragdoll, right? It's good into Ragdoll, it's good into Diana.
Yeah, the
Artemis
ponies for
too.
sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, ponies for sure.
Right.
I mean, I think
Like,
oracles as
if
well.
if-
Anything with.
Yeah,
attack
if
bar.
your draft is very attack bar manipulation heavy, when a Tian Lang comes out near the end, as it's always been, like you still have to force ban it.
Yeah, I think it's a great unit to use as a force ban.
Mhm.
Have you fought against a lot of Tian Langs, Fall? What's your opinion now on it?
I just got my ass whooped by one like 30 minutes ago.
Okay, real fresh. His ass whooped real
No.
fresh.
Yeah, I mean I was using the fire unicorn, and I didn't think it was gonna be a big deal because I was going to absorb. I was going to absorb attack bar also with it, but it's pretty big. I mean, yeah, it's rough.
Okay, cool.
So
Alright. Some general thoughts on Mulong and Tian Lang nerf right there. Let's go ahead and move on to question number 2 here. Question number 2 that I have are, what unit or units, I guess, are you most excited to test and see this coming RTA season? And you want to see people using stuff. We'll start, same thing, we'll start from Faint, and we'll just go, left to Topa and such. So you can start it off, Faint.
I guess Water Monkey
Hmm.
and Daphnis. I think Daphnis is really strong in RTA.
Yeah, get some claps in chat. Yeah, you see that? Yeah, you see that? Wow, interesting. All right,
I
why?
was screaming
That's
Barian the other day, and
Okay.
his Daphnis wrecked me really hard.
That's somebody else I want to get on this podcast as well, Baron. Hopefully we get some other people on this podcast. A lot of different theory crafters. Yeah. So why? So why? You just said he wrecked you. You said Monkey King.
Ruins, bro.
That too.
I mean,
besides that, explain more, please. I want to
Like,
learn.
Yeah, I want to hear. About this.
the skill 3 is actually, I think the strip is almost 100% because I've never seen his Daphnis miss the strip on my Ophelia, and for him his Daphnis goes first in his entire lineup. So even if I put up like say Ophelia, the shield, the threat state, or even if I have immunity, like he can just rip the HP and the immunity off that one unit, and then he can focus it down really quick. Right, and then if I don't have immunity, if I draft all fast units, then you can go with a skill 2 reset.
Yeah, skill 2 reset could be pretty powerful. So,
Yeah, it's-
what kind of build is it? What was it? Was it more of a tanky build or a bruiser? I'm assuming bruiser, right? Most of the time.
I'm gonna guess
Oh.
Swift.
Because
It comes Swift for sure
Yeah.
because it outsped my, I think
What is the base anyways for Daphnis? It's not that high.
96.
Yeah, it's kind of
98.
Yeah,
I think his Daphnis around 280 or 290.
Okay, that's pretty fast with that
Yeah.
base speed.
It wasn't that tanky, probably about 25k HP, but it did have a crit damage slot 4.
Oh, so it was a bruiser build.
Yes, and I'm pretty sure it had accuracy, or I don't know. I have to look at it. I have to go take a sneak peek. But the couple of times you skill 2 on turn 1, he reset my whole team.
Yeah, because I feel like, I mean, if you have the rune efficiency, of course you can go bruiser type, right? And you do a little bit more damage. But to use the functionality that you're kind of describing for Daphnis right here, all you need is HP, defense, accuracy. Basically, right? And speed.
Yes, yeah,
Technically.
yeah.
So you don't even have to go crit damage left forwards.
You don't have to go.
And you can make him a lot more survivable and more of a threat.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think it's gotta be fast though. Like if that thing doesn't move first, you're in a logical. So everyone in chat who's gonna try it out on teams where it doesn't move first, I think they're gonna see some pretty terrible results with it.
I mean, they can use it in Guild Wars, right? Standard. Daphnis Molong, for those of you who have Daphnis Molong. It's in style, as long as you go first. Oh, interesting. What about the Monkey King? What about the Monkey King?
Nah. Monkey King, I think skill 2 wasn't really that big of a buff, but it's always been good. But the problem is now that Molong's nerfed, right? People are looking for more water options. So they a patch just hit. There's a buff to Water Monkey King. Everybody's hyped to try it out.
Okay. Yeah, it's a very strong unit. It has a very ridiculously high base speed stats. So we might be seeing it as a single target stripper kind of CC unit moving forward.
Well, actually, the strong part of the Water Monkey King is not his skill 2 or this kit. It's more like he has permanent immunity, almost.
Oh, almost, because he cycle turns with skill 2.
Yes, and
if
usually people put it on like fast violence set now, right? So it's gonna outspeed you, and then you're gonna find it hard to find those gaps where you can actually do damage to the water monkey, unless you have like strips and stuff.
Interesting. Okay, moving on. Topa.
Yeah, I'm pretty much the exact same as Faint. I literally like wrote this down beforehand. Shiho and Daphnis. And you know, I actually have these 2 units, right? And they haven't seen a lot of play before, so I'm really excited for these 2 units in particular. I've been starting to skill up my Shiho here, and yeah, I mean, some people say he's unreliable in his skill 2, but exactly what Faint said on the skill 3, it's very hard to take him down to the 1-turn invisibility and the 2-turn immunity on a 3-turn cooldown, right? In addition to him cycling turns in the second skill. And I've also seen, you know, like players like BD actually have a lot of success with the Water Monkey. He was bringing up a Tiana, and you know, I think it worked out really well. So I'm really excited for that. And also the Daphnis, which we already talked about. I don't think I really have anything to add to that.
Wait, so you were saying BD is already using it? You've seen him use it or scrimming with it or something like that in Special League?
Yeah.
And he's using it pretty effectively, the Water Monkey King.
Mm-hmm.
So is Violent the kind of the build that all the top players are kind of viewing in their mind right now is the best build for him?
Yeah, I think most players are taking advantage of Violent since his cooldowns are so low. Violent just, you know, abuses those low cooldowns pretty well.
Potential nerf to Water Monkey King coming up, giving it extra cooldown. Oh boy. All right, thank you for your answer. How about you, Makeitabud?
Yeah, well, before I get into the units I'm testing, I'm not sure about the Water Monkey King, man. Like, that thing's really, really susceptible to Sierra's water
Of course, this is the guy who talks about Sierra.
So like, I don't mind if like I'm going to try to snipe BD later at some point because, or maybe, you know, we'll fight at some point. I'm not too scared of it. The Water Monkey doesn't have 100% S2 stun rate, so it's inconsistent, and it gets eaten alive by Dianas. So I'm not sold on that. There's a lot of weaknesses to it, but we'll see. Anyways.
Oh yeah, Diana is a very good pick.
I mean, it's a core pick now because there's so much immunity, and single target strip is insanely good, and Diana is very easy to rune, especially on a good crit rate build. Yeah, I don't see Water Monkey being that scary, but maybe today when I fight later, people are going to be sending Water Monkeys on me all day long and killing me and taking my points. But we'll see.
Okay.
2 units I'm testing. One is a Water Barb. It's a test for me, more meta for other people already, but I'm testing it because, again, we don't have a water option. Being Molong is gone, so I needed a water option, and Water Barb allows me to control, do damage, all that stuff. So it kind of does everything for me and really syncs well with my team. And the second unit I'm testing, not sure if I have a chance to use it much, is Vertihile. And the reason why is that I think that Jean and Ophelia became a lot stronger in this meta, so we're going to see a lot more Jeans and Ophelias, which means a Vertihile is going to be a very good last pick against those 2 units.
Against those two units to cycle turns. Correct. Okay, because you get turn cycling with skill 1 and skill 2, and that means in essence you bring a little bit more damage as well.
Yeah, I saw that from Obabo, who was using Vertihile with a lot of success. So I think it's good to work into a lineup if you can, especially if people start catching on and using Jean and Ophelias, which I think are incredibly powerful in the new meta. It's going to help a lot.
Well, I'm going to try quickly on that as well. What are some other counters to Jean and Ophelia then? I think, I don't know if you've been using it anymore, if you've de-runed it, but it used to be known for your Iris. I think Iris is a pretty powerful unit against those 2 units that you just said, Ophelia and Jean.
Yeah. So Iris is really good. I like the Raccoon against the Jean. I think Amelia has a place against Jean, but I don't use it so much for that reason. It's more for gaining an Hathor. But generally, my Raccoon and Iris are enough to take care of any of those 2. Or Vertihile, which I want to test out to see what the difference is between these. It's just generally how I would counter those units.
Okay, great. Thank you. And Fwa. Yeah, all different, as you can see, guys, we have all different mindsets and theory crafting, so it's gonna be very interesting. How about you, Fall? What are you excited for? I mean, there's a lot of units that got buffed in this last patch and kind of changed, so it not only makes new units available, it makes other units, viable now, since others have been buffed. What are you excited to see or to test?
Man, I do not like the water Lightning Emperor. I think he's going to be extremely kind of like broken. I mean, not broken, but in a way it is, because it kind of forces people to not pick the Wusa or Amelia or units like that. Like if they do pick those units and then you pick the Water Lightning Emperor, then they're like it's almost a guarantee win that the Water Lightning Emperor has. So it kind of changes the meta a little bit with that. And let's see,
Do you have the Water Lightning Emperor?
I do not.
Hmm.
But yeah.
Yeah, I've kind of seen it in action a little bit, and yeah, I think like what he's saying, it's very strong, especially when you bring buffs or your opponent brings buffs, like Usa, Amelia, and things like that. Yeah, we haven't seen a lot of gameplay from either Lightning Emperors. What are your thoughts on the Wind one too, though? Since you're talking about Lightning Emperors, I'm sure you looked at it as well.
He could be real good. Like you just use him cause he revives whenever there's the buff. But let's see. I haven't really seen him in action that much, but cause he's almost like a Perna, like a Wind Perna in a way. But how to consistently give him that the
Stats.
knowledge.
Yeah, the knowledge.
Yeah. Cause he's gonna run out. So on your team, I guess like him pairing up with Amelia, maybe I guess will keep him consistently staying alive if he gets killed. So
Okay.
I don't know.
Interesting. So we got some decent units brought into the table here. Water Monkey King, of course, Water Barb. Yeah. So it's gonna be interesting to see these units coming into this next season. Nobody really knows. You know what I mean? We can all theory craft. We can say anything we want, but we really won't know until it starts hitting the live gameplay and people actively use it over hundreds of battles. Now, some of the units that were buffed in the patch that weren't mentioned here, and why are you guys excited to see it? Maybe you forgot, or why are you not excited to see it? Such as Chi Wu. Now with the attack bar reduction by depending on how many beneficial effects were stripped. What are your thoughts on Chi Wu?
Chi Wu? You go back into storage.
Oh yeah. So it just does it wherever it was good is just where it's gonna stay.
I mean, unless you need another speed lead, I don't think Chi Wu is gonna help much.
Okay. Inconsistent strip or something, or it just doesn't provide enough?
Well, past turn 1 doesn't do enough. Like, it has to be on a despair set past turn 1 if it's gonna do anything, right?
Right.
Mine's in storage too, dude. I put in Devils and it just went straight to storage.
Really, I didn't put any Devils at all.
No, it was an anti-cleave, right? It gives you an extra strip, but then in order to run it on Swift, it's got to go in front of an Oki, right? Which A is very heavy on the rune requirements. B doesn't do much post turn 1 if it's on Swift. On top of it, my slot 4 damage runes are ass in terms of speed, so I can't use it. So I ended up ruining a Gemini instead for anti-cleave.
I see.
I mean, I think Triton's better.
Oh yeah, let's talk about Triton and his brothers, because they got so nothing changed for them except for skill 2 is now 2 turn silence, which as we know is a very powerful skill. So, and not too many units actually have AoE silence. So how much more viable is he now moving into the new season?
Okay, that Triton skill 2 is basically the same as Jean's skill 3. You have to think of it that way, except you don't get the additional turn. But Triton now has, it still has its skill 3 as a stripper, right? So I think Triton is really up there.
I don't think Triton really is anything like decent because he doesn't really offer that much. I mean, he's got no damage. He just does he could be easily counter. I mean, Diana's gonna be huge this season.
Diana does kick its ass pretty much.
Diana's gonna be huge this season.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Very bruiser heavy meta.
Yeah.
Huge bruiser meta, and then Triton doesn't against bruisers is gonna get his ass kicked, like Foss saying. He doesn't do very much post the opener, right? And the opener is also, I don't see it being 100% effective all the time. It misses quite a few, and it is RNG dependent. And those that are like super high level generally want consistent opening plays too, right?
I think that Triton could be good if you do invest your best runes onto it, but that's if you really invest like some top-notch account runes on him.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
he's a very control unit, but like I don't think he can even do any damage, even like on a damage build. Topa, have you even really tried Triton? I don't remember him doing much damage, if anything. I don't think he has.
I have
multipliers.
not. You know, I actually pulled him, and then he's
Oh, you
being
do?
in storage.
Congrats, sir. Oh, well.
Maybe I will.
Never mind.
But then something else I want to bring up here real quick is you also asked was it Bud about Jean counters?
Yeah,
It's,
yeah.
Tetra we didn't bring up, and also Tetra. If you know if Triton does become meta somehow, that's also going to raise the value of Tetra, right? Because Tetra's skill 3 does reduce the cooldown of silence also, and I think that may be something we may be seeing more this season also.
So let's go over Tetra a little bit here. Then people are saying it's kind of like a weird raccoony to a certain extent. What do you think the functionality of Tetra is going to be with this in
like
Guild Wars
Raccoony
and the new
and-
season?
Raccoony and Vermos had a baby, and then
Oh, that's a good one.
Yeah.
it'll be Tetra.
It's a full cleanse, right? It's a full, or is it one debuff cleanse? It's a full
Reduces the
one
duration
turn.
of debuffs by 1 turn.
one turn. Okay.
Yep.
I see.
But if you violent proc, it'll be 2 turns, right?
Does it heal or anything as well? I don't know the exact details when I read.
Yeah, it heals 12% on the lowest HP unit.
12%. Okay. And then skill 1, I believe, is a single target strip, which is nice,
Yep.
right? Which, as we know, in the next balance patch will be changed to glancing. No, I'm just kidding. Just like Daddy.
Hey,
No, I'm just
Glancing's not
kidding.
bad. Glancing's not terrible either. It kills all the ponies, man. It's not bad. I don't like Tetra as much though. Like I like Raccoony so much more. I value that skill 2 boost a ton. It's just so much control over the match.
The skill 2?
Yeah, skill 2 the Raccoony just allows me to control the match, and
Mm.
Tetra's not going to give me that. Tetra's more, that skill 2 is more reactionary, right? After your unit's been immobilized, then you can skill 2 it, but your opponent can kind of read ahead and understand the cooldowns. But Raccoony's skill 2 is a little bit, I guess it allows you to push the action a bit more. So I like it a lot.
I guess that's
Versus
true.
Tetra's kind of doesn't change the dynamics of the attack bar as much.
Small factor. I don't know this. I don't know this. I feel like I should know this though. But if Tessarion glances, does his Oblivion get applied? No, right? No chance.
Yes, it does.
Still does apply. So it doesn't even affect elemental advantage for bringing in Tetra versus Raccoony. So Raccoony is still definitely pretty viable, especially for being only a 3-star.
Oh, but the Tetra can cleanse the Oblivion with skill 2.
Who's
Mm.
crushing their water bottle? Holy fuck! That-
Oh
my God.
It's not water bottle, it's soup.
Yeah, I hear
Oh,
I hear
alright,
Fate's
nice
chair. I
soup.
hear Fate's soup.
Crap.
It's like an ASMR Faintmemory stream.
Okay, let me turn myself down then.
No, it's okay. No worries. But let's talk a little bit about the mermaids though. Yeah, do you think that any of the other ones are viable? I think it's I've looked at all the stats. I've actually have the wind one and the fire one built. I think their kits are very undervalued. I think, of course, very strong for Guild Wars and Guild Siege, but any potential viability? You've seen it in RTA?
I think all the mermaids are viable in RTA. Like, but you have to invest really insane runes again. But I think they all are.
Okay.
Besides Molly, I think she's the one that's. I mean, even Molly in certain situations.
Well, obviously against Cleave, right? Which you still face
Yep.
in RTA quite often on the daily, right?
Yep, or even Diana. Stuff
Oh yeah,
like that.
that's right. That's right, Diana.
Because since Diana's gonna be huge, dude. I do not want to count how many times I've said huge, but yeah.
Hey, dude. See, I told you, dude. That was the meme for me as well, dude. I mean, it was, what is the words? Detrimental, huge, dude. You as you're talking about these things, those words just always come up. It's just inevitable.
Yeah, I think even Beta is super good. The fire one is real good. The
Fire
wind
one has 100% chance to
underrated.
strip skill 1. That's the
know.
only one with that, by the way.
Yeah.
That awakens
But we
into
have, we have to face it. The glancing debuff never works, right? We all know that.
That's
it.
true.
Yeah, that's true. Rip Yanni,
The glancing debuff never works. Wait.
Like he's
The
just
Molly
saying
one.
in hindsight, when you have glancing or there's anything with glancing,
Oh.
it
Yeah.
still crits you. Yeah, just like Perna always crits water.
Yep.
Okay, interesting. Those are some interesting units that are definitely to look up to. I mean, not look up to, but look forward to seeing in the next season. Let's move on to the next question here. What units do you feel will become this season's most picked unit? First picked unit, or in even tournaments, most banned units? Or are they the
I
same?
want to hear this.
Yeah.
I want to hear this.
Well, this is easy.
We'll start off with Faint.
I mean, I first picked Danny for 7 seasons, and I'm not about to change that. But apart from that, I think Hathor first pick's pretty good, pretty strong right now too.
Even with all the different Thor counters out there, she's just that strong of a unit.
She's still that strong. Yeah.
Okay. Interesting. How about banning? Like when there's tournaments, what do you think will be banned? It's also Hathor and Yanni still.
Banning is really depending on the draft, so you can't say for real. Well,
no, banning.
Okay, sorry.
Ragdoll.
Yeah,
Sorry.
Ragdoll. So I'm sorry. First pick is actually Ragdoll. I changed my mind.
First pick Ragdoll.
Yes.
Oh, okay. Ragdoll's still strong. All right, we could segue a little bit. So even with the slight nerf to Ragdoll, was it 20% to 15? Still too strong.
Too strong.
Yeah.
Needs a nerf. Down to 10%.
10%. Where it originally started.
So the passive is every critical hit will gain attack bar, correct?
No. Well, yes, but multi-hits on a single unit don't count. Count only as once.
But 15% is still too much.
The thing is, like, if you know a person has Ragdoll, you just can't pick too much AoE into it. Single target critting is actually not that bad.
So how can they change it then? Do you think instead of just the one attack bar increase, it should be multiple at a lower amount, and multi-hits will count towards that, or no?
I
That would change it up, right? Go ahead.
I suggested in the past where Ragdoll's passive can only proc once per enemy turn.
Yep.
So it's simple as that. Like,
Done.
Yep.
Once per enemy turn.
And you can even kick it back up to 20% if you do that.
Change it back to 20%. Yep. Change it back to 20%.
What do you mean by once per turn? Like, so if I violent, my next hit won't count, but my next monster will count.
No. Like, let's say you have Lucian and you AoE,
okay,
right? That's 80% attack bar increase for the team. 80% attack bar increase. Yeah, I mean, if it's 20%, but I mean, right now it's 60% attack bar increase if it crits on all the 4 units. So 15 times 4, so Ragdoll's passive can proc multiple times if it once per Ragdoll's teammates. So let's say Molong AoEs and he crits all 4 units. That's 60% attack bar increase for Ragdoll's team.
Yeah, and if it crits 3, that's 45%.
Yep.
Right, and that makes it highly unpredictable and just way too swingy, right? And that's why you're saying just crit once on a turn makes it way more balanced.
Wait, I thought I asked that earlier. Yeah, because I forgot the Ragdoll's passive, and I said, do multi-hits count? But then you told me no.
Well, multi-hits on one unit, I think, don't count. It's just one pop. But across the team, right?
Got it. So one per target on the AoE skills, but you're saying it should just be for one target. So he has a cap then. Maybe they just need to make a cap on how much % attack gain he can get. Instead of making it so confusing, that just a cap. Instead of one word, you could just be like, when something hits, you only can gain 30%. 2.
That's
a lot.
Whoa. Compared to an AoE skill, that would be 4, right? To cap it at 30 or 20 or something like that per turn.
No, just stick to 20 because because if Ragdoll's whole enemy team moves and if each of them crits, that's 80% attack bar increase already, right? So, I mean, you can do the math. If it's 30, that's holy fuck. Okay.
Or maybe like nerf it so that that the passive doesn't apply to Ragdoll himself, but his teammates only. That could be viable too.
Oh, okay. Oh, question. What is a stronger second skill for Ragdoll? Torrent or Justice?
Oh, Torrent.
Yep.
Justice.
Really?
You think Justice is stronger?
I think
I think it's dependent on your play style. Like because Torrent is more of like a bruiser kind of team where you have to kind of survive, where Ragdoll has to survive longer. If they target Ragdoll, then he has a chance of one-shotting. But I mean, Justice is real good too because he can start doing damage off the bat. So.
Well,
what I'm thinking,
if he doesn't have Torrent, I'm gonna go straight to the dome on that thing, right? If it doesn't have Torrent,
Yeah.
I'm just gonna kill your ragdoll off the bat.
That's
So to me,
that's a nerf. That's a
I'm gonna
nerf
go
then.
straight
If it
to-
can be
yeah,
on
I'm gonna go
Justice.
straight to the dome. Like
Right.
if it's on Justice, it's a hell lot weaker. I'm not scared of that thing.
Exactly.
anymore.
So maybe the change should be
that's
also
true.
it should be on Justice then instead of Torrent so people have to think about how they want to build it because it doesn't have that second skill viability anymore, right? So maybe Justice change to it can be also a slight push down for the Ragdoll and still keeping it kind of a usable damage dealer / bruiser.
That would
Still
actually
way
be.
too. It's still too strong. I think. If
Still too strong.
If you change it to Justice, yeah. It's
I
still
mean,
too strong, but-
regard like if it's on Justice, then you just pair it with like a Vanessa and a Triana, right?
yeah.
Or like something that you have to like kill first.
And then we just made a new problem.
Yeah. Alright, and then maybe like a unit dies, and then now Justice hitting for like 20k a turn.
That's true. Okay, let's continue on here. Or any more thoughts on the Ragdoll? Any more thoughts here on the Ragdoll or anything?
Why don't we just delete that unit altogether?
Okay,
And then,
good.
yeah.
Good
You
opinion.
know,
Yeah.
we
We'll
don't,
be
we don't
sure.
have that problem anymore.
I think Ragdoll is just so easy to fix, and like what I said, like sometimes I don't even feel like the developers understand how AOE works on Ragdoll, because I don't think it's intentional for Ragdoll to be able to give his team 80% attack bar increase. Well, before, now it's 60. Like I don't think that's intentional, because if you think about it, that's pretty broken.
Yeah, I think one thing as well is what your statement at the beginning, the developers don't know. Oftentimes I feel they don't, right? They're not G3 players, they're not in-game players. They know the mechanic of the game, they play the game a little bit, but like I said it many times on stream, I feel bad for the person with the job of doing balance patches, man. Yeah, not only do you have to have the knowledge, not only will there always will be something wrong with your balance patch, there always will be something wrong, right? It's not an easy thing. So I think podcasts like these, suggestions on Reddit, and suggestions that we get from the community can definitely open up and give them more knowledge. And hopefully they start listening to us more and continue giving us, better patches in the future, which the last one was really good. So I do applaud them for that. All right, we're going to continue on here with the question of what unit do you feel will become the next season's most picked or, most banned for the tournaments, pre-ban. And I guess we'll go on with Topa and Makeitabud and Fall to finish off with that topic real quick.
I think Gani Hathor, those two are going to be the most pervasive first picks. Right, because CC is still going to be meta, and Molong no longer fits CC role due to his second skill being nerfed. So that brings up Gani and Hathor. Although they were nerfed, right, they're still super strong. I feel, especially since Hathor still having the skill to strip, which Gani doesn't have anymore, nor does really Molong have anymore. So that the fact that Hathor has a strip makes her so much more valuable too.
Nice soup, Josh.
Or for tournaments, what's going to be pretty bad? I mean, it's going to be the LDs, right? Or anything that maybe, it's going to depend on the match. Like maybe against some person you want to ban their Vanessa, their speed lead, right? Because that can be a huge threat. Or like Sierra, if they don't have any way to deal with that. Or even Jean. Like it's really hard to say to be banned because a lot of the units are going to be or are on like the same field, so to speak.
Okay, that was actually a really good analysis. Thank you, Topa. What's your opinion, Makeitabud? Hey man, if you go eat your soup, can you mute the mic? Thank you very much.
I'm sorry.
No, you can eat your soup. Just mute the mic. I think it's hilarious.
I did not hear anything that Topa said. All that I heard was
I'm not gonna see what
Okay.
Josh is eating.
You can just mute it. I mean, if you have to cough or sneeze too, just mute it. Just mute it. It's no big deal. And then when you have something to say, you can unmute. Doesn't matter. It's okay. It doesn't help that his face is like the biggest face on the screen too. Alright, go ahead. You're up next.
I think it's gonna be Gani, Hathor, Oki, and Jean in that order, give or take. Maybe Jean and Oki plays
Jean.
interchangeable, but I think Jean is very strong right now. I mean, the nerf is technically a nerf, but that just means you put it on will, so it doesn't really change very much. But I think Jean is just so versatile. But fourth, because Gani, Hathor, and Oki are more versatile than Jean in terms of being able to control the field. And then I think right after that, you'll see some sort of speed lead, so that'd be Vanessa or Sierra coming right out.
Okay.
So that's the order. I just think it's still a control-driven meta, has generally been and still will be, but then the bruises at the end is what's going to kind of make that draft either make it or break it.
Okay. Interesting. And last but not least, Wall, what are your opinions on first pick? Pre-bans?
Yeah. Assuming that you don't know that what LD units the enemy has, like Ragdoll, whatever. Yeah, probably. I don't think anybody really knows the end of the season first draft or first ban,
Mhm.
but right now it's probably gonna be just Gani Hathor. Mo Long's not gonna be banned anymore because Mo Long, yeah,
Not gonna even be
Is
first pick
that
from what
big
we were
deal.
discussing as well, right?
yep.
Totally non-existent. All right, cool. Let's see here. All right, let's move on to the next question then. Question number 4. How do you feel about the new change to Legend RTA? And what I mean about that is the top 4 players now will have to duke it out in a tournament, which we have yet to understand what kind of tournament is going to be. Is it going to be a live tournament that's going to be broadcasted on their channel? Is it going to be on the side tournament, or what's going to happen? But it's going to take the top 4 players at the end of the RTA season. They're going to duke it out in a tournament to determine who is the actual Legend player. What are your thoughts about this? And who do you think will be Legend? Because obviously this will favor players that, you know, can do well in multiple battles, not just, you know, battles against maybe G1s and G2s. You know, they can just easily be a G1, G2 killer and rank up, you know, in Legend or even G3. So how do you feel about this new change? We'll start off with Faintmemory.
I think it's great. We won't see boosted Legend anymore.
Yeah,
That is definitely a topic.
Yeah.
That was top of mind. No more boosting.
I mean, like the past 7 seasons, I think 6 or 5 of them were boosted Legends. So
Yeah.
And boosted,
Yeah.
you meaning by like
Boosted?
teammates,
It's a sort. No.
guildies giving them free wins?
So what happened, and I'll use the example, the most recent special league right before this one, Sai was the number 1 by like 30 points the night before. And he was chatting with me afterwards. He's pretty pissed because within half an hour, I think Tomatoes just shot up. And I think it's because someone had fed him wins in the last...
Wait, 30
Like,
minutes.
It's not. I don't think it might have even been 10. Like you just physically can't get points.
You
that fast,
physically can't do that.
right?
That like
so
battles.
Sai was pretty pissed about that, and you know it's very tangible evidence that this happened, and to a friend of mine. So this basically means boosting will go away, at least for slots 1 to 3. I could see boosting happening for slot 4 into the tournament, but I think spots 1 to 3 or maybe 1 to 2 are generally going to be the good ones.
I mean, like season 3 and season 4, where Dog Guy got Legend, like a week prior, or like maybe not even a week, like 2 days prior to the end, he had 4 or 5 guildies in G3. And they were all gone. They were all gone.
But at end of the day, I mean, we can let's speak it the truth here. I mean, we can speculate, right? But there's no guaranteed, except for the Psy one, because it was a short amount of time, so you can deduce it's guaranteed, sure. But
Dogman
guaranteed?
gained 80 points in 2 days on the last.
Yeah, you can't do that. That's really not possible.
Okay.
Plus, people like me look for guys like that and kind of hit the Q button as he goes.
Yeah, like, I took 14 points away from Dogman just so Tiger was ahead, right? And then like
Boosting
half an hour
Tiger.
later, Dogman's 30 points ahead of Tiger. I'm like, okay.
Hey, that's respectable sportsman boosting, in my opinion. If you're trying to specifically target somebody else to pull them down, so somebody you know can be higher, hey, that's
fine. I think
that's fine.
okay.
I think that
fine.
adds to the competitive scene. Yeah, so that I like that. That's fine. Topa, what is your opinion on this change? Yeah, this is something that was briefly talked about, but now that we're bringing it up, I'm sure a lot of people are getting refreshed on it as well.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds really good on paper. You know, in practice, I don't know how it's going to work out. Like, you know, yeah, like you said, we don't know if it's going to be a tournament live on Twitch. And, you know, also, like, how do they reach these players? You know, like, if one person can't be there at this one time, do they get disqualified? Do they get a new player in there? So it could be frustrating to you know, find a time which works for everyone.
Oh, you know what's interesting is that that's the way they did it for all the SWC tournaments, where they go down the list of G3 players. So that potentially means that this season, if you're top 10, yeah, which I think all of you guys have a very, very good chance of achieving, except me, but you have a chance to be called, because if they email you or they try to contact you and you don't get in contact, then you can't be in the tournament, right? They got to take number 5 and number 6 and number 7. So that gives a lot more opportunity for you guys.
If you invested enough to be top 4, though, you're going to wake up at any time to play this thing. Just a guess.
You'll be surprised,
Okay,
right? Same with SWC, where
I could
money
be
was
surprised.
involved. Where money was involved.
True, and Tomato didn't play, right?
Right. Well, so from what I heard as well, players that, you know, bought accounts and were suspected of buying, I don't know how they calculated this and determined it, but players that bought accounts and stuff like that were actually disqualified. They were on the list and they were not contacted and they were disqualified. I don't know how they figured that out though.
Huh.
So that's why certain players, we won't name any names because I'm not for certain, were not in the tournament, and you'll notice players that were in the tournament were at a lower rank than those other players for that exact reason. And I think that's why buying and selling accounts have
they
kind of
figured
declined.
out who bought accounts by
Email change.
Yeah, email change.
Email change.
Okay, that's definitely true.
Yeah, the amount of emails that has been linked to that account.
Okay, that's probably what it is then, because I know for a fact, like just for me, that they did that. I don't even know if I can say that. Well, technically, it didn't tell me anything. I figured it out on my own, so I guess I can say this. But yeah, I mean, they disqualified people from playing, and I think that's why people are not really buying and selling accounts anymore, because they thought, hey, if I know the game well, if I'm a smart player, I can buy a really good account and I can be a part of this tournament and try to win some money, right? Not possible anymore. What about you, Fall? What do you think about this new change to the Legend RTA, having the four players duke it out?
I don't know how it's gonna go. I just can't wait to see how it's gonna turn out, because there's a lot of logistics that need to work out for it to happen. Like, like what Topa just said, like the times and player, like what if one player doesn't like if they're set for that day and then some emergency comes up and like the replacement.
Who do you think will win then? Who do you think has more of an edge? Does this favor certain players now?
I mean, honestly, like who's gonna win is the one that wants it the most, the one that's going to spend money the most, the most try hard. I mean, like try hard, not in a bad way, but like they want it the most. Like it's whoever wants it the most, and it's most likely gonna be an Asian guy, because I'm just kidding.
What?
Hey, it's
What?
Topa.
Hello?
Topa.
What?
Oh yeah, Topa is there. Oh, my bad. My bad. I have no idea who's gonna win.
So
Yeah.
wait, so that brings up a question. I mean, obviously, we're not trying to be racist. That was obviously a joke. But in the top 100 list, in terms of servers and where the players are coming from, where are most of the players from what you've seen in the top 100? Asia server, global server, EU server. Where are the top players? Is it mostly Asia server players?
Asia, Korea.
Asia, Korea are like most of the
Japan.
tops.
I think Japan's Asia server, right? So, Asia server.
No, Japan has their own server, I think.
Oh, do they? Okay, some Japanese.
So what's the
players.
strongest servers then? Is it Asia global then EU, or Asia EU global, EU global Asia? What do you think it is?
I mean, like if you're looking at the top 30, definitely Asia, or like China server, Asia server, maybe Korean servers.
Yep.
But then if you look from 70 to 100, I think global has a good representation.
I see. Well, you guys do have the majority of the population of players, actually, right? You have the biggest.
Yeah, we just don't have the LDs in the wallets. That's all.
All I know is that EU's the worst.
Ooh! Controversy! Hey, we need some of this. We need some of this here, yeah? Some controversy.
I don't But I think it is Asia. Yeah, that's that's the most OP.
Okay, it should be very interesting to see the upcoming RTA season then, and see what server prevails and what player prevails in this tournament. Because these next couple of seasons are just kind of like basically almost like pre-seasons to the actual tournament. If, and I hope, Com2uS runs another SWC this coming year of 2019. So it's going to be interesting to see how, units pan out, the meta changes, the balance patches adjust as well moving forward. So let's move on to question number 5 here. All right, this is gonna be just a simple one here. What's your favorite unit in the game and why? Just throw it to a fun one here. It doesn't even have to be something you use in RTA. Maybe something you don't use anymore. What is just your favorite unit? Just because it looks good or it has a cool skill? We'll start with Faint. What's your favorite unit? Why?
Okay, my favorite unit changes from time to time.
Okay, the biggest, the one you remember the most, the biggest one, the longest favorite unit, and why?
Okay.
And maybe if it's not anymore, then why not anymore?
I mean, it's still up there. I think Gani's probably still one of my top favorites, right? But then, like...
I can only name one.
I can only name one?
Can only name one.
Okay, I'm gonna have to give it to Mav.
Hey, give everybody the backstory of why Mav. Because there's a backstory for it now.
There's a backstory? What do you mean?
Because you used it in the tournament and you're starting to use it more, right?
Oh, okay. Well, no, I used it before. Right? There's one season I did like no nat 5s. Well, I didn't stream it or anything, but and like I had to rely on Mav for like cleanse and stuff, and then it went into the storage for a while, and then it was on the Seychelles tournament, and then we did it for fun, right? So we had a poll for like which unit they wanted me to use, and then
What was it between?
everybody picked Mav, so I brought Mav back out. He's still pretty good.
What was it between when they were doing the poll? Mav and who?
I think there was Ralk,
Oh
Mav,
God, that would have not worked.
was the water dog?
Water
What's
dog.
that thing?
Oh, Avarice.
Tark.
Oh, Tark. Okay, I think Mav is
And,
probably the smartest one out of those three.
And then there was Bella too. You know.
Oh, Bella would have not been bad. With the current meta, Bella would have not been that bad either. Interesting. Yeah, because if you guys don't know, I've seen Faint do it many times on stream. He uses Mav like against like G3s and G2s, and he actually like wrecks them, and it's actually kind of entertaining to watch because of the amount of turn cycling that he gets with it. And then you know you can feel the shame from the opponent.
everybody that's known in G3 has fallen to Mav. Yeah.
Really?
Probably except for Chris, I think.
Ah,
I mean,
you've killed.
I
them.
lost the game to the Mav once, but it wasn't because of the Mav. It was because of the Helena, I think, or something else he brought, or it must have been RNG. It's if I lose, it's RNG.
If you lose it, it's always
RNG. It's gotta be RNG.
I think the best one was against Sai.
Oh, was that the one I saw? You didn't beat him. The time ran out, but you did come back and almost beat. You would have won, but it timed out and it drawed. Right? Is that the one? I saw that, dude. I saw that one. You would have won. It's like guaranteed you would have won too with that comeback. Damn. All right, nice, Matt. Moving on to Topa here. What's your all-time favorite unit? Why?
All time, Zyras. Like Faint, it changed a lot too. But you know, it was Yanha, but then she got nerfed, so she's not as funny.
Oh, okay, I see.
Yeah, Zyras, because you know, ever since I started the game, he was on sometimes the loading screens, right? When you get into a dungeon, you would see Zyras. I don't know, it's looked cool to me.
It's a dragon,
me,
right?
Yeah, my 14-year-old self, you know, playing this game, you know, I see that beautiful looking dragon, then it's like, man, I want that guy. And now I actually have 3 Zyrases, so now
Congrats.
Now it's like, not your favorite anymore.
yeah, it's cool and all, but you know, I'll take a new Nat 5, please.
All right, nice. Zyras, yeah, Zyras is a very strong, powerful unit. So yeah, iconic too. Well, besides maybe Artemil, right, for the face of Summoner's War. All right, Makeitabud,
the storage.
what is your favorite?
Sure.
I think we kind of already know, but we'll let you talk about it, explain anyway.
I mean, it's nice to be able to blow things up in one bomb. The amount of pressure it puts, the speed lead it gives, turn cycling, and then if you get lucky a couple times in proc, I mean, you've dropped 2 bombs. I sync it pretty well as my team 2, where drop a bomb and then get attack bar and Makuni can boost it up and whatnot. It's kind of a lot of stuff that my opponent has to deal with in one unit. So very easy to rune too.
Dots.
Are you sure
Very
it's not
easy to
Conrad?
ruin. Yeah,
Very
you sure
easy
that?
to ruin.
Yeah, Conrad's your favorite, right? He's a new all-time favorite. Hey, just for the memes, you should build it for fun for Go Wars Guild Stage. Find some way to use it.
Conrad, I
Yeah.
fed that thing.
You already fed it?
You fed it?
I fed that thing to like a 4 stars.
You animal!
I rage fed it.
Well, I'm sure you have another
I was
Conrad in
so mad
storage.
I rage fed it.
You have another one in storage. You have
I
one.
do not. I might have a 4-star one, but
Yeah,
fed
I
the
mean,
5
most people keep one of each, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That would be dumb. You don't feed your only 4-star LV. You don't.
Yeah, until he looks at his storage later and figures out that he did. Anyways, if you guys don't know, Makeitabud definitely has one of the best CRs in the game. It's his favorite unit. I always say that you know, I don't really like CR first pick, but Bud like oftentimes first pick CR because you know people would just take it away from him oftentimes in RTA, so he chooses to first pick it to always have it there. And you run a crit rate CR, right, for turn rotation and you know. turn cycling?
No, it's attack. It's speed, attack, and then, but the crit rate is about
crit rate stuff. Heavy on the crit rate stuff.
Some
efficiency.
heavy on the crit rate, HP, defense, accuracy, and attack subs.
And by the way, boys and girls, you're hearing him say speed, attack, but that thing still has massive HP and defense. So don't let that fool you and start building your CRs on attack, and they have like 1k HP.
That thing has everything.
Yeah, that thing is like
no
ridiculous.
crit damage, no resist. No crit damage, no resist.
Good to know. Fwa, what is your all-time favorite?
The Fire Lich. You know,
Oh,
I was gonna say that. I could have
yes.
guessed.
That's right.
it just brings me so much joy when he, you know, when he gets a turn or when Tiana moves and he moves in and he stuns the right unit. Yeah, he's amazing. I get my ass whooped by him all the time too whenever I fight one, and he's just crazy. So underrated too.
I've done a little bit of analysis on Antares, and I've talked to some other players as well, and technically on paper, isn't he actually really bad? Like, he's very fun, but isn't he actually kind of bad in terms of passive?
I
Or
think
am I wrong?
so.
Convince me I'm wrong.
I mean, it's just a gamble. Like he's just a
Right, right,
gamble.
right.
Like he could be the best unit ever, or he could be the completely worst, like useless, worthless unit ever, depending on how he feels that day. Pretty much.
But
Depending
on
how he-
average, is it that consistent or solid? Not really. But for
If-
you,
if
it works.
against-
For you, it works.
against the right team, he's
Mhm.
really good. But like, yeah, it's depending on what you pick. I mean, and what the enemy team is.
Yeah, because
If
I've
they have-
seen you used it before, like against like
Yeah.
unicorns and stuff, right? When they're changing forms
Yep.
and you're cucking those Dianas. Right.
Oh yeah. And the crazy thing is when they steal the turn from the unicorn, when they turn to human form, they don't put up the immunity. So
Right, right.
it's
That's
crazy.
true.
That's but yeah, I mean like against teams that has low damage, it's almost like a guarantee win with the Fire Lich. But if to counter it, you just gotta bring high damage. But
We can say for sure that when I fight a Fire Lich, that thing procs like every time.
And vice versa, right? When you use it, it never goes, right?
Josh doesn't use Fire Lich. I
I don't
him
use
it.
Fire Lich. I don't use it, but it procs like every turn.
or the worst times, right? That's because I mean, when it procs sometimes, if it's not in an opportune situation, it's not that bad. It's really not that bad.
No, but there's always
It
this.
still does. It still hurts though.
And it hurts.
It still hurts when it procs. 3 times in a row hurts a lot.
Okay. For me, my favorite unit of all time will always just be Zyros. Yeah, just like Topa actually.
Hey.
Yeah, just the dragon, man. Like when you started the game and I didn't know too much, it was all about like dragons. My first net fight was a Phoenix though, Teshar, which is like I think the best unit to start the game back when I started because that thing like cleared scenarios like nothing. Yeah, everybody's like, wow, how are you clearing scenarios? And I was like, I got this thing, but I had no idea it was that hard to get a nat 5 back in the day. Yeah, all-time favorite will always be Zyros. Yeah, and I still remember the moment pulling it. It was just, I was so happy. But then now that I think about it, I'm like, I don't even use him that much anymore. He just sits in storage. Okay, those are some the 5 questions that we mainly have. I can throw it onto the table here to whatever you guys want to discuss. If you were thinking about anything during the entire time that we've been talking on the podcast, anything you want to bring up to talk about here? Go ahead. Anybody?
Here's an interesting topic for you guys. Like, just like, what is your most wanted thing in the game? Like that to add in the game or implement.
That's a good one. We can start off with Faint.
Oh, okay, I got a good one.
Oh, or we start off whoever's ready. Yeah, go ahead, make it one.
Well, Josh will have known about this because we talked about it last time at the last SWC, but like, you know how in StarCraft and a lot of those games you can queue with teammates in the games?
Mhm.
So we'll have some functionality to queue with teammates in Summoner's War. Whether it's a guild RTA or whether it's like an RTA function like the style that they had in Guild Wars, or everyone sends one unit out as a draft. I think that would encourage a lot of collaboration, a lot of like fun interactions, and also like if one of us streams or something, then you can carry a viewer and do some crazy things. I think that it's a lot of fun, a lot of creativity you can do with that.
Okay, yeah, that'd be interesting. I'd be curious to hear what kind of rewards they can put in there. Maybe, you know.
Devilmon, LD Scrolls. You know.
Okay. Maybe let's not. Let's ask for reasonable things so they actually happen, right? I'm thinking.
Like,
go ahead.
last SOC while we were talking to come to us, they said they were trying to push for that Guild Wars, the Guild War, whatever, like that format we had to be implemented in game. Don't know when or.
The swag versus all the different guilds.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
It might not be like a guild versus guild. It might just be like 3v3. They said it like if it would be, it'd be special leagues. So, you know, we might get to see it eventually.
I see. Topa, any ideas? What you want to
No,
see?
I don't have anything like specific. Just something more that's like co-op, like Chris said. Maybe it doesn't have to be like PvP, like PvE co-op. Because right now we only have raid, right?
Right.
And that's not co-op because you can't. I mean, it's all auto. So I would just like to see more co-op action.
But co-op as in not co-op auto, co-op manual, correct?
Yeah, co-op
Okay.
manual. So
Where
you
you
actually have to like
play.
communicate with your teammates and like plan out stuff instead of just like, you know, gathering some random group of random people and then just letting it do its thing.
Because that'd be interesting. Because then you know, it sounds like a great idea, co-op manual, and then you're gonna get people that are like, oh, but I don't have time to do that. I don't have time to do this manual anymore. So it'll be very interesting to see what people think of that. Fua, you came up with the question. So is there anything in particular that you would really want to see implemented?
There's like 100, but if I was to just pick one, let's say, like, I'll probably say like to be able to like having some kind of building or something for you to be able to change the type of unit of your unit. Meaning, like, for example, because like Vertihill is an attack unit right now, right?
Okay.
Attack type unit. Being able to change him to a support type unit, or like being able to change, you know, like attack to support, like the Water Monkey King, being able to change him to a support type, so that his base stats changes from having more HP and less attack. So being able to customize, because that allows you to customize your builds and character units a lot.
That
more.
game becomes infinitely more complex then.
That would be pretty complex, but
Infinitely more complex.
How about this? Like
Infinite.
have a react stone for units, like all the stats randomly, like.
That'd be hilarious.
no, that would be crazy though. But that
Because
takes
then if it sucks, you just feed the unit, right? And then
but that would make
Or-
it too much unpredictability. You know, with like RT and stuff, you want to have some predictability, or you know.
Well,
be
you
able
can
to-
always pick the earlier stats, right?
I guess that's similar to, like, it would create a lot of complexity. I don't, maybe it's too much complexity, right?
But I
Maybe?
think
Maybe.
in
Because
general,
like right now
maybe.
we know Gannies and Hathors around 260 to 270, right?
Right.
But if you shuffle stats and speeds change, there is no meta anymore. The meta, I don't think there is like a meta in terms of speed when you draft. When you think of turn orders, I don't think that exists.
you make it about a big headache if that happens.
People at SMT asked me like, you know, and I've seen this a lot. Like, hey, RTA should be where everyone gets a set number of units or a set number of runes, and I actually think that's a terrible idea because it doesn't change. It's not skill dependent. It's almost like a rock paper scissors luck type thing, even more so because let's say you had enough runes to say make 270 units, and one guy made two 268 ones, and then the other one made one guy made a 268 and the other guy made 271s and 271s, and the other guy went 270s across the board, right? I mean, 2 over and 2 and 1 under, right? It's like a rock paper scissors of you don't know where to peg your unit. I think having set
Wouldn't that be
too
a
much
lot?
variability.
Wouldn't that be a
That's
lot
good- that's
more
good interest. That's good thing.
skill? Wouldn't that be a
No,
lot?
I don't think so, because right now the meta is such where you know the 260, 270, 280s are there because that's where generally people's runes are, and that's a good point, huh?
I think what Makeitabud is saying is if they had to standardize units and runes, but what if they just made it so they gave you players like this format where it was X units that were runed, and from that huge pool of rune units, everybody has a standard stats that
If
they
they're
know are
ruined,
there,
I think it's okay, yeah.
right? And then people pick and ban, just like I don't want to use League as an example, but League, right? Every character, everybody knows what it does, right? Everybody knows what it does, and then from there they pick and ban accordingly when they're battling. So this could be something where Comptos is like, hey, we want this new format where we have these units, these 20 units, and these are the stats for them. Go ahead and go into a battle, pick and ban. Use your knowledge on what you want to pick and ban, and the knowledge you have of skills and characters to try to win. Would that be something interesting? A different tournament formatting, maybe a standardized tournament formatting instead?
I think it gets stale real fast. I think it would
You think it gets stale real fast?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah,
to
that
me,
would keep changing a lot for sure.
So
Yeah, like-
people ask for that also because they're upset that they don't have the runes, I guess. They don't understand how much people have invested in the game, either money or time,
Mm-hmm.
right? So they kind of want the same without investing time or money in the same amount. So they would want to see something similar, but they don't realize it becomes very, very stale. Like, you think Ganny Hathor and all that shit is stale now, it becomes even more cookie cutter.
Well, it depends on what units they bring in, right? And it doesn't have to be just Nat 5s. If whatever set units are in that pool for that rotation is the set units that can be used in that rotation, which brings more knowledge to different characters. I think it could be a different mode. I would think of it more as a side mode, not one of the main modes. You know what I mean? To give people a taste of various units and them in action without actually having them.
Sure.
I think something like that. There's gonna be a limit to the end meta because you're going to figure out the best possible picks with that. Like, because like to me, the fun thing about Summer's War, the great thing about Summer's War is the ability to rune each unit completely different and having that kind of system where each unit's already ruined, it kind of kills that a little bit, kind of the customization and the how you want to build your units. So
Interesting. All right, I see a pretty interesting question here. If you could create a new rune set, what would it be? One rune set, a 2 set and a 4 set. What would you make it? I know, Fwa, you've done a little bit of brainstorming on this before. I think I've lurked when you've done some of that brainstorming. But if you only could pick one, what are some of the thoughts? I mean, because this is something that we can definitely brainstorm and suggest. And I have to assume Com2us is thinking about coming up with new runes, and you know, with all the new content that you said that might get released or things in the future, this is something where they can implement these new runes. What are some ideas that we can kind of give them?
Oblivion.
Ooh, how does that work? They've never given a
OP.
debuff in a set before.
That's
Can you
so
imagine
OP.
that
All my
on
support
Iris?
units go on that offset. All my supports now.
No. I think
Imagine
Oblivion
Iris.
it would be a 4 set. It would be a 4 set.
Oh, 4 set?
Nah, that'd
Imagine
be
Iris
oh,
on that
6
set.
set runes. They've never done a 6 set rune.
Ooh, that would be fun.
That would be a new one. It would be something
That would be
strong, but hard to obtain good stats on because it's a 6 set. That's difficult.
No, all you do
No.
is on the next rune, you just select that rune.
you go,
That's all we do.
No, but to make a consistent unit, you're gonna need one slot of each. One slot of each. It's gonna be hard to make sets of that are solid, like you are right now with your violent
okay, then
brokenness.
give it 3 months.
Yeah,
Yeah,
just buy more. Just buy
Okay.
more.
Unobtainable from rune packs. Nah, I don't know. They would probably put it in there. I don't know. What could be some of the ideas of those though? Like, what could they do?
Oh, that takes thought. That takes
Yeah.
time.
I mean, we can throw it on the board right here. I mean, this is a great time to kind of brainstorm on it.
Chance to ignore defense.
I mean,
I know.
chance of silence. You can look at all the debuffs. All the
Yeah,
debuffs.
all the debuffs of the
chance
chance
of
to-
silence, chance to defense break, maybe.
33% chance of a turn, 22% chance for a 4 set, so
Yeah, a
33%
6 set.
chance for a 6 set.
Yes, I like that idea.
That's absolutely ridiculous. Oh my
Chance
God.
of someone in chat saying chance of strip, I think would be interesting as like a.
That would
Yes,
bring a
that-
lot less viability to the current strippers that are in the
Hey,
game.
you just put it back on Gani.
Hey.
That's true.
Except now his third would go to immunity, no?
Oh yeah, it would. Oh shit.
Oh boy.
I think something that's not too bad is like reflect damage or things like that. Some of those mechanics can be put in there, you know, and you know, you might find some viability for it. A small amount of reflect damage would be interesting to have on various units. It could strengthen a lot of, you know, tanky bruisers as well for not being targeted.
Kind of like destroy the opposite way, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Kind of using
Or
like
just
little mini fights.
damage reduction like a Darien passive or something.
Mm-hmm. Or what about
I mean, that's kind of like the endure and enhance runes right now, like the damage reduction, but like on a much smaller scale, you know?
how about like reverse despair stuns, where if you get hit, you have a chance to stun your opponent. So it becomes, you know, harder to kill that particular target. It could be a low chance, but like a reverse despair stun. Just thinking of some other viable, interesting mechanics. That
We don't need more. We don't need more RNG in this game. We already have
Yes, you
it.
do.
Yes, you do. It makes it fun, man.
My blood pressure, no though.
Invincibility set. Ooh, that might have to be a 4 setter though. I don't know. That would make it kind of easy for certain units to.
Mo long off the bat.
I mean, obviously it's
Oh my
easy.
God.
Guild Wars, Guild Siege, right? Everybody's gonna run Katarina and that kind of stuff now because invincibility, right? Any unit that needs that setup will get it. But that's not a bad idea. Invincibility. Yeah. Just bring Leica back. Oh man, I would love for them to bring Leica back. All right, if they brought Leica back to its current position that it was before, where it's season 1, season 2, how do you feel about that?
Ooh, that's really strong.
It's pretty strong, man.
To stun? Dude, I would put some nutty runes on that, and I think we
Yeah.
ride that thing to victory, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah, we hop on the Leica train and we ride it. We
That used
ride
to
it to
be-
legend.
That used to be like 1v3 solo right there. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and it'll be
Yeah.
1v3 solo again. I ride that train down.
I mean, technically, you can put the despair set on the Yang, right? And it does the same thing.
All right. Any last general thoughts before we wrap up the podcast for today? Anything you want to say? I guess maybe we can start with Faint. Yeah, whatever general thoughts you want to say. Kona, not you. Okay? No, we don't need your thoughts. Excuse me. Your general thoughts on the patch, as well as your general thoughts on this podcast. How do you like it? Do you think it's something that we should continue to do every week, every Thursday? Bring in different people, bring in you guys back in again, and yeah, in general. Whatever you want to say.
Podcast was great. Yeah, I really liked it. As for the patch and probably next season,
Most fun
we
season.
don't really know.
How are you torn? Oh,
Everything's like, up for grabs.
Good. I like that. That
Nice.
definitely means that it's going to be an exciting season because nothing is predicted.
it means you got a shot at Legends, sir.
Yes, I do have a shot at Legend.
With Mav.
Maybe without Mav.
Yeah.
Mav, you got a shot at G2 though.
All right.
I don't know, like,
Go ahead.
yeah, I think, it would have been nice if I pulled one of the LEs. Then I would really have a shot at Legend, but...
It'd be nice if I got a Ragdoll too, but we can't all have what we want.
Sure. We'll let them know. We'll give out a grog into you and see how you can use that. All right. Moving on. Topa. What do you think about the podcast and general thoughts on next season? Are you excited for it? Just general thoughts to finish off here.
Yeah, I mean, the podcast was great. Thanks for having me here. It was really cool to see the perspective of the players. Hopefully this helped out the community here too, right? And as far as, the patch and next season, I mean, I really like what they did with the patch. I mean, my whole team got nerfed, right? Literally, my whole team got nerfed, but I still like the patch. I still like the patch because it's a step in the right direction, with what Faint said, it's very up in the air since there's, Mo Long isn't a triple S unit anymore. Gani isn't exactly a triple S unit. So it's more of a even playing field, and this will allow, hopefully for new strategies to rise again, right? And which is why I'm really excited for next season of RTA to see how it all pans out.
Cool. Thank you. Makeitabud.
Yeah, I mean, I thought podcast is good, right? You get to hear everyone's opinions and maybe like crack some jokes and whatnot and just kind of have a good time. So I think it's good. Definitely should have some sort of occurrence on it, maybe a weekly, bi-weekly, whatever frequency makes sense. Patch-wise, I mean, compared to other patches, this is probably top 2% patch, like really damn good, right? In the past, the meta is very cookie cutter, and now we get to see different shit, and no one knows what the hell they're doing, which is amazing. So you can try different things. The legend change is great. It means everyone has a chance, right? Kind of.
Well, not everyone. Come on.
More of the handful of players at the top have a chance to duke it out, so we could see some very competitive.
And I also think that that's nice in the sense that I think Comp2us it'd be great if they could have more tournaments. I know that they do have the SWC every year, but the life cycle of a mobile game is really short, typically, right?
Except for Summoners War, it's the one exception.
This is the exception where it's like 4 years plus. This would allow you to kind of get more out of your, because a year here is like 10 years in other industries, right? So having more tournaments more often would be great to promote the game too. And my assumption is they're gonna have some sort of a stream for it or show that. So I think it's great. I think it'll be fun. Nerfs are great. No complaints except nerf Ragdoll harder. But other than that, we're good.
Cool. Thank you. Go ahead, Paul.
Dude, I agree with everything that everybody said. Like, this is like the most exciting RTA season ever. Yeah. I really have no idea what the meta is going to be.
I can tell by your voice. It's very exciting.
Yeah. It's the first time that I really have no idea.
There's a little bit of emotion in there, you know what I'm saying? So that's how you know it's a little bit exciting.
Yeah.
Fire is there.
And the Ragdoll thing too, like just like what Bud said, like it really needs that nerf that we talked about in this patch. And once that's done, like it's gonna be even better. Like everything is, you don't know like what's gonna be the best teams anymore, because every unit's kind of even right now besides Ragdoll, I think.
And Light Monkey's gonna need a nerf too.
Oh yep.
And Artemel's gonna need a nerf.
Artemel.
Oh, Light Monkey. Who is it? Thompson. Oh man, he gonna use that, bro. He gonna be using that Light Monkey. Who else has that?
Here's my perspective of the Light Monkey. The Light Monkey King is Tableau Season 1. It's pretty much a Tableau Season 1 without that stun at the end. Yeah, he's pretty much a Tableau Season 1.
Not much turn denial, maybe more.
Yeah, that's a strong unit. That's true.
Without the...
I don't know, I still like Hathor better. Because it's a
Why not both? Why not both?
Well, Josh likes the Hathor more, and I think it's because you like single target strip. Because that's a lot more control and versatility in a match. And skill 3, when you get that off on a Hathor, the game's over. It's a lot of
Yeah.
time. So you don't need the game to be over twice. You know, you just need to win. You don't need to win by a lot. So I think that's where the thought is on that. But I still think Light Monkey is overpowered, but we'll see.
Yep.
Okay. Well, that's awesome. Just to finish it off here, thank you guys for joining me in this podcast. We'll put the links for you guys' channels on Twitch into the YouTube video at the bottom. I hope you guys enjoyed this podcast, whether you're live right now on Twitch or whether you're on YouTube. Give us a lot of insight. For the people on YouTube, make sure you guys leave a comment. I really want to look through these and see what your thoughts are, A, first on the podcast, and B, who else you would like to see on the podcast. Obviously, I'd like to have these guys come back here again, but bring in other content creators, bring in other people that are here in the community, all joined in for this podcast to hear different opinions on various topics. It doesn't have to be RTA. It could be on anything Summoners War. It could be more Guild Wars oriented. It could be, how to build teams and, things like that. So we'll continue doing this in the future. Thank you guys for your time. And yeah, we'll see you guys later, YouTube, if you want to say bye to YouTube, everybody on Twitch. Yeah.
All right, see you, YouTube.
See ya.